Hey guys, it's me Shay again. I received an email from someone called Vivek asking me my opinions on simps. My opinion on simps. I felt like this was a great second video because, in the spectrum of how men feel about women, if misogyny is on like one end of the spectrum, simping is on the far end of the spectrum, opposite end of the spectrum. And say if misogyny is this hatred and dehumanizing of women, and pitting men at a higher position and considering them superior, simping is the exact opposite. It's an over glorification of women, and considering the male, the self in this case, inferior, and I think this is a great topic to discuss because we're not. I don't think we as a society know what is a balanced way to treat women and to put men. What are the roles? We don't know anymore. So this is a great second topic. It took me a while to write this, particularly because my personal feelings kept coming up, and ideally, I don't want that to happen. But yeah, it does happen sometimes because I'm human. So, alright, so we'll just get into it. What is simping? So, Old English definition was basically the word comes from the word simpleton, which is basically gullible or dumb guy or less intelligent. um, and then it was shortened, and then over time it was taken into it carried over into rap culture and hip hop culture, and in rap songs and stuff it was considered the opposite of the word pimp. And we all know what pimps are. Pimps are these, hyper masculine, powerful men, dominant men, and they control women's sexuality and their money, and these intimate NSFW workers, and they help them get clients, and they take like a percentage of the earnings, things like this. So if we're talking about pimps, we're talking about men who have authority over women, and if the simp is the polar opposite, it's basically a submissive man who gets abused essentially by dominant women for money, resources, or status, and given very little reciprocation or respect in return. So it's important to also consider that the women that we're talking about, they may either be actively abusing these men, or they could just be the recipients of the simp's affection. Either way, we cannot avoid the agency of a person. So still, we're going to focus on the simp throughout this subtopic, and how a simp may be responsible for it, and how they can continue to get themselves out of it as well. Okay, so it's also important to note that there is a second meaning for the word simp, which is basically you consider an insult to normal, respectful, kind guys, like gentlemen who consider women their equals, and we'll discuss that in a bit. But so we're going to acknowledge two different definitions of the word simp. One is the insult, the true form of the simp, and one is the derogatory, the one that's used as an insult. Alright, so how do you recognize a simp? Simps are people who tend to overextend themselves to provide validation and support to the woman of their choice, with the hopes to receive some benefit, a sort of favor or love, sex, attention, anything in return, right? But they don't get it. This is very different from true affection or courting or wooing a woman naturally, organically, because these gifts, this money, this resource, this time, this affection that these simps are giving, it's given with intention to receive something in return, and it's very transactory in nature. It's important to understand that simps are essentially paying for what they think they want to, for what they want to get in return. And it's kind of manipulative because these things, realistically, practically, they cannot be bought. So love, affection cannot be purchased through gifts, or and if they are purchased, it's conditional, and it's not true. It's not something that comes from a person on their, from their internal spirit or whatever. Okay, what are simp behaviors? Alright, constant compliments. This is an interesting one. Constant compliments, long messages, liking every post, looking at every piece of content that this, the favorite woman has put out. This is basically fan behavior. And saying stuff like, oh my gosh, any man would be so lucky to have you, and you're the most beautiful girl in the world. And basically the person doesn't match this energy, but you're relentless, but the simp is relentless in his obsession, and the object of the person of his desire does not reciprocate that level of interest in him. Second one is presuming that the woman is never wrong, and she's completely incapable of ever being in the wrong, and going overboard trying to defend her, basically white knighting. And sometimes the woman even gets annoyed and she asks the simp to back off, but the simp does not give her that space or let her defend herself. It's basically trying to fight her battles in this effort to appear heroic, or to show that I'm on your team, stuff like that. Paying for basic things like nails, paying rent, paying the woman's rent, or when she's not even your a special person in your life, like not a friend, not someone she considers you a friend. She's not your girlfriend, not your wife, not your family, nothing. You just keep paying for her stuff, hoping that she will give you something in return, like particularly sex, or consider going on a date with you or something like that. Then doing favors like running errands, like for example, in school times, or among children, how popular girls used to make these sort of less popular guys do her homework. Maybe picking up and dropping a woman, and it's not friendly. It's important to acknowledge it's not friendly. It's like it's done with intention to get something in return. Maybe like a colleague, picking up and dropping a colleague and stuff like that. And it's not just like, oh yeah, cool, sit in my car and I'll take you and go. It's more like, oh, I can drop you, and like going like 20 miles out of your way just to do this, just hoping for something to happen. And then in relationships, it can show up as you doing, the simp doing more for a partner than the partner is doing for him, for the simp. Say for example, taking up too much more than your share of the housework, or taking up a majority of the expense, working too much, going overboard working, trying to support the woman's lifestyle, the partner woman's lifestyle. And maybe the woman isn't even working, she doesn't do very much around the house, nothing, doing the bare minimum, just like freeloading off of the simp. It can also show up as the simp accepting verbal, physical, sexual abuse, and sometimes even the favorite person, the object of the simp's desire, can sometimes engage in like condescension or social humiliation of the simp. And it's just like abusive relationships also. Sometimes you can sort of expose who the simp, if a person is simping. Actually, sometimes you'll find the simp isn't even comfortable listening to anything negative about his favorite woman, because he is not comfortable saying anything bad about her. He'll also sometimes isolate from people who are talking about the abusive woman that he's in a relationship with. Sometimes it can also look like um, accepting being cheated on, or being around people the simp wants to date, but the woman isn't giving that much attention, or is not on the same page as him. Maybe sometimes the simp can even be the standby person. um, it's pretty bad actually. Sometimes simps can also pay for children, for the upkeep of children who aren't even his. He doesn't, you know, he's in the father, not the biological father, not the stepfather or anything, but like just hoping maybe that woman who is seeing other people is going to give him a chance. um, it also can show up as fan behavior when people pay beyond their means to support some woman's lifestyle, like a streamer or whatever. It is giving beyond what you're capable of giving, or like it's not just like a one-time donation. It's kind of like an obsession. It's kind of like, glorification, and putting this woman up in the sky, like as if she's some divine entity, whatever. Okay, so the overwhelming sentiment among all of these things is the simp basically considers this woman like this massive reward, and he keeps thinking that he is not worthy of this woman, and maybe he can bribe his way into her good graces, and if she gives him any scrap of attention, he will take it, he'll lap it up, and he's completely fine by that. And this is extremely deeply damaging mentality, because a true simp isn't someone who just likes a person. It's very different from that. It's just it's someone who makes himself like a side character, and there's like this main woman who he's gonna support. It's like blind devotion, it's like glorification, putting her on a pedestal, and he doesn't consider himself an equal at all. So it's like worshipping, it's like sort of worshipping a god, and it's just validation, attention, resources, power that this favorite person gets out of a simp. And the willingness of the simp to basically dedicate his all of his resources, all of his life, whatever, his mental energy, his time, his attention to the woman is is what creates this power imbalance, because it opens out this opportunity for the other person to abuse it. And abusers are going to abuse, narcissists are going to narcissist. That's not I don't know why I said that, but yeah. Basically it's okay, so two types of people might be interested in being the simp's favorite person. One type is the narcissist, the vain person who seeks to benefit from the simp's generosity or obsession. Generosity is a polite word, but obsession is more accurate. So the narcissist is going to use and discard this simp, but on the off chance that the simp manages to develop a real, organic, authentic relationship with a proper, good, balanced person, it's extremely unsustainable, realistically. It's unsustainable because the simp has a tendency to love bomb, and so when that is the first thing that the woman has fallen in love with, she starts expecting that to be the consistent behavior of the simp forever and ever, which obviously it isn't. It's a temporary thing. And so that's basically a way to a shortcut to burnout, and it's going to lead to disappointment on the part of the woman, and on the from the perspective of the simp, he's going to feel unappreciated, he's going to start feeling unloved and used and discarded, and the recipient will expect this behavior all the time because that's just what she expected and that is what she was sold. And this simp is just gonna feel really bad about himself. So historically we have seen, this is very interesting, historically we have seen that women have been the simps for generations. Women have given up their bodies, they have given up their careers, taking care of the family, cooking. A lot of women have been sister wives. Not cool. I mean, not a lot of women don't want to be sister wives, but they have to because they're in this setup. They have multiple children, and this is permanent damage that's being caused to. You might say, yeah, it's biological, but yeah, at the end of the day, it is permanent damage that is being done to a human being's body. So there's very little like monetary value that you can assign to that, because it's irreversible. So women have suffered for decades, right? Being simps, and I'm not saying that this is a good thing. I'm not saying sacrifice is good. What I'm saying is there's something to be learned from that. And what is to be learned is that simping is not a good way of life. We know that it's terrible for the simp because because there's an aspect of like self-harm involved as well. It's sort of masochistic to keep testing to see if my generosity will change the way that my abuser or this person who's so used to being validated by me is going to, how is the outcome going to change? Can I make the outcome change by doing the same exact thing over and over again? And so the simps will be pushed to the limit because eventually they'll realize that they can't do anything about, they can't change the way that people are, and no amount of paying money, no amount of dedicating of myself, no amount of worship or glorification is changing the way that the favorite person, the favorite woman is treating him. He doesn't get anything in return, and it creates a vacuum in the simp system where he gets so annoyed and so angry and resentful that he is drained by the end of it, and he eventually has to face the fact that he has not shown up for himself. He's abandoned himself multiple times, and he doesn't feel respected or loved, or rather he feels emasculated. And that can cause aggravation, that can cause the simp to become violent and stalkerish, whatever. I don't know how to say that word, but once the simp's back is against the wall, you've had it. He's hit his limit. Okay. Oh, and the second definition for simps is basically it's the use of the insult word, which is simp, which is basically just a nice chill man, respectful gentleman who is just nice to women, and he listens to his female friends, his wife, his girlfriend, whatever, and he doesn't treat her like shit, and he does the housework and he does things that are not considered traditionally masculine or whatever, and he likes to bring his wife to places, and he likes to go home back to his girlfriend, whatever. I mean, not his wife and his girlfriend, but sometimes, but yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, he goes back home to his girlfriend, his female, whatever, his significant other, and it may not be that that the guy is this emasculated, weak, submissive man. It may just be that he likes his wife and he doesn't hate her, and it's just a healthy, balanced relationship. So true simps are people who abandon himself in order to gas the female up, the favorite woman up. And a normal guy who just likes his girlfriend is a normal guy who likes his girlfriend. But toxic people will insult based on anything. They'll make fun, and doesn't feel great. So yeah, in the next video I'm going to discuss the possible reasons for why men simp. And yeah, see you there. Bye.